how did I gain so much weight? Because I don't want to just like focus on like weight for what it looks like on the outside. When I'm talking about this weight, I'm talking about it has impacted me all over the place, internally, emotionally, all of the things. What happened in this process? And the honest answer is, well, it's a multi-step answer, but I became very disconnected to self. So this journey, my summer glow up, and not just summer, my life glow up is really about returning back to self. And I feel like my 20s, I was navigating just this world of like, I don't know anything. I don't know what anything is. And I'm trying so many different things. And I'm still doing that in my 30s, but I'm starting to learn myself more. And I feel like I'm going back to like the drawing board of like, who am I when all these people aren't around? Who am I when I disconnect friend groups that really were holding me back? And a huge part of like my whole weight gain was because I became disconnected also to my physical body. And that sounds so weird and it's really hard to describe when you're not in that process. But like, I remember I would say it was about a year ago. I was taking a bath and I was in the bath and I seen myself for the first time, I would say in years. And I know that's like, how do you not see yourself? You look at yourself in the mirror all the time, right? But I really seen myself, like I felt myself, and I was living on autopilot for so long that I really became disconnected from my literal body. Like I was always in my mind. And so when I was eating certain things that weren't good for me, it's like I was disconnected to the fact that I was even eating those things. Like I started to like binge eat a lot, and I was an emotional eater, and I worked a very high stress job and career. That was like my main focus before mental health and physical health and all of these things. So like when I would have a hard work day, I would just come back home and like order junk food and not even think. I would literally just eat and not even think. It was so weird. Like I didn't even feel the food. Like I just ate it. And the more that I gained weight, this was part of the weird thing, is the more that I gained weight, the more positive attention I received. Because the more that I gained weight everywhere. So I became really curvy, and that became very popular, and I was receiving a lot of attention from men. And last year when I started taking my weight loss pretty seriously, and I had lost like around 25 pounds, and I had posted about it. Before I even posted about it, people were messaging me like, why did you lose so much weight? Stop losing weight. You looked better before. People would even see me in person and be like, oh, you look so much better before. Men specifically. And it made me feel like, oh, you know, why should I even lose weight? The more weight that I gain, the more attention I receive. And it's been really this like journey of also like decentering men and their perspective of what beauty is to me as a woman. And this is not to like bash on men at all, but it's just more about connecting back to myself and like, what do I think is beautiful? And I think I'm beautiful in all phases of what my body is, but more about how do I feel? And when I gained all this weight, I don't feel good. Like for me personally, it doesn't feel good. And I think a huge wake up call for me was in 2021, at the end of 2021, and it wasn't a big enough wake up call, by the way, but it was kind of the start of my journey. I woke up one night, like in the middle of the night, and I had to go to the emergency room, and this is a whole nother story for another day, and I found out that my appendix was about to burst. And while I waited there in the hospital, the surgeon said that I was too big for him to feel comfortable doing this procedure on me. He said that it was going to be a lot harder for him to do a laparoscopic, I think that's how you say it, surgery, which is where they do like small incisions to remove that organ. And he wanted his senior surgeon to perform that because I had too much fat around my midsection. And that was really sad to hear. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, but isn't this fatal if my appendix bursts? And he said, yes, but you know, you're in the hospital, so if it bursts, you know, there'll be someone on call to like come help you. And I was like, what? Like, so it was like the worst night of my life. I sat there and I had like, they couldn't find my veins, so they put like, one of the nurses finally found it, but it was on my wrist, so it was really uncomfortable. So my wrist was out the whole night, and I just sat there and I remember just praying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope my appendix doesn't burst tonight. Like, and I couldn't believe that the weight that I had gained made it difficult for a surgeon to perform a life-saving surgery. Like, I was so shocked. And so I waited and waited until that surgeon came on call. I remember the surgeon who came on call, I believe he was like driving a bicycle, like a motorbike, because he had like taken his helmet off. Like, I remember being on the bed and like him rushing into the surgery, and that was like a big wake-up call where I realized how my weight was impacting me. But it still wasn't a big enough wake-up call, to be honest with you. Like, I more so changed my career and that trajectory where I realized I'm not living the life that I want to live, and I want to change something. I want to be a content creator. And that was in 2021. It's now 2024, because it's been this like process of having to convince myself that I'm good enough to come on camera and share my story, because I think, like, why would anyone want to listen to me? I like gained all this weight, like how could I help anybody? But one of my favorite speakers, Ed Mylett, he always talks about you're the most equipped to help the person that you once were. And being on this journey, I want to help someone who's also on their journey, not just their weight loss journey, but just connecting back to themselves, specifically women, because there are so many stories we're told our entire life of how we're supposed to act and who we're supposed to be. So when you finally wake up, if you haven't been awake for all this time and you realize, like, who am I? Like, that could be a very lonely journey to navigate. And that's why I want to document this whole thing, because I debated on starting my YouTube after I lost the weight, after I cleared my skin, after I glowed up, after I became the best version of myself. And then I'm like, you know what? No, because this is an imperfect journey, and someone needs to see this. Someone needs this help. Someone needs to know that you're good, you're great where you are right now. You don't have to wait to lose that weight or clear that skin for you to be worthy to share your story. You could still be on the journey and love yourself through the journey. And that's one of the things that have been different for me, is that whenever I would go through like a weight loss journey and come back and go back, I would like try to hate myself into loving myself. And now at 32, I realize I cannot hate myself to love myself. I have to love myself. That's it. There is no negative self-talk happening. If that happens, shut it down, you know? And when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm being gentle with myself and saying, you know what, you got this. And I'm cheering myself on. You got it. You got it. Whoever's watching this, you got it. And you can do it too. And just taking those steps of just pouring that love into myself and knowing that self-love is more than just affirmations to myself. Self-love is doing the things that I tell myself I'm gonna do and treating my body the way that it should be, by nourishing it, sleeping well, taking care of myself, and doing all these things. Because in my weight gain, there were so many things that happened that I didn't realize, just my ignorance would happen. Like, I got sleep apnea, mild sleep apnea, and like I had to go to a sleep doctor and like do a sleep test, which was like really uncomfortable. Like, they connect all these like wires to you, and like you're like kind of like attached to this wall, and you have people behind you watching like your cycles of sleep and your oxygen. It's a very, very interesting thing. It was very uncomfortable to do though. And then they told me, yeah, you have mild sleep apnea because of your weight. And I'm like, wow. And just like doing my blood pressure, seeing I have high blood pressure, doing this was my final straws when I seen that I had high blood sugar, because I lost all 4 of my grandparents to diabetes. And I'm like, you know what? No. We're not doing this. I'm not repeating the same generational cycles that has happened in my family. It's time for me to break this cycle. But in order for me to do that, I have to understand, how did I get here, so I know how do I get to where I need to go. And that comes back to coming back to self and connecting back to my body and doing like somatic work. And I did about like a year of talk therapy, and that was amazing. And I'm gonna continue to do talk therapy because I think it's so great. It helps you really just like navigate what's going on through your mind and things that you may have not noticed. The therapist can help you. But I also like to take it a step further and do somatic therapy. And I also worked with an intuitive healer, and like just really doing the things to reconnect to the self that I've just really put to the side for so long. And I hope in this whole process it could help just one, if this helps one person, I really am happy, because this is a journey. It's not about the destination, because I just honestly wanted to come on here when I made it. When I lost all the weight, when I lost 60 pounds, I wanted to come on here and be like, look guys, look how I glowed up. I can help you glow up. But no, it's not about that. It's about seeing this like week to week. This is like real life. Like the other day, it's been 3 weeks now that I completely cut out sugar. I'm not eating any processed sugars. And this is not just me deciding just to do this. This is me talking with my doctor. I also have a naturopath, and just really working on what is best for my body, because everybody has a different body. And for me, my sugar isn't good, so I have to cut out sugar, right? So I cut out sugar, and it's been really difficult to do that because I love sugar. I love donuts. Like, I really do love donuts so much. I love sweets. I'm like a candy person. I'm more like a sweet person than a salty person. And I stepped on the scale and I didn't lose any weight. And I was so mad. Like, I literally broke down and cried because I'm like, man, I've been working so hard. I've been walking my 10,000 steps. I've been going to the gym. I've been cutting out my sugar. I completely did an overhaul of my pantry, and I still didn't lose any weight. If anything, I actually gained a pound. And I was so mad, even though I know the scale isn't the best thing to decide where you are, but I just dropped down and I cried. And then I asked myself, I'm like, what's the solution? Like, what are you gonna do from here? Are you gonna sit here and you're gonna cry? Or are you gonna continue? Because what I do now, the benefits I'm not gonna get for months from now. Like, they'll slowly start to creep in, but it's not going to be an overnight thing, because I didn't gain the weight overnight. I didn't become disconnected to my body overnight. I didn't do this overnight. This has taken years to get to this point. My blood pressure didn't go high overnight. My blood sugar didn't go high overnight. This has been a years of disconnecting to myself and not treating my body with love. So it's not going to take overnight to change. So this is going to be a process. This is going to be a journey. So I actually got myself up, because I remember, like, I seen this TikTok. It was actually Seth Rogen, and he was talking about how, like, failure is really just like giving up, and how, like, if you give up, you for sure aren't gonna make it. But if you keep trying and if you keep going, then there's a likelihood that you might make it. And so that's what I literally heard that Seth Rogen clip in my head when I sat there and I was so sad about my weight. And I'm like, well, I can stop now and 100% I'm not gonna lose any weight and feel better about myself. Or I can keep going and know that I'm at least working in the direction that I need to go. So I'm not giving up, and I really want to be that girl to me. And I know there's this big thing for that girl, and I love all these that girl videos and everything like that, but, like, I'm not trying to just be an aesthetic. I'm not trying to just be an aesthetic. I want to be the woman that I deserve to be. And it was 2 years ago. I was at a cottage. I know this sounds kind of weird, but I was at a cottage and I was walking up the hill like from the boathouse up to the main house. And I just seen this vision of myself. I believe God gave me that vision. It was just a quick vision. And I was fit, and I was healthy, and I was energetic, and I had this black, those tight zip up coats, and I had an Apple Watch, or a tracker, and I was hiking through the woods. But it was me, and my hair was long, and I was like, whoa, because I had gotten so used to myself living in the body that I'm living in now that I forgot what it was like to feel healthy. Because I've been unhealthy for this last 3-4 years. And it just came to me, and I was like, whoa, that's me. That's who I am. And even though this is who I am right now, that's who I am. I don't know, this doesn't make any kind of sense, but it was a vision of my higher future self. And it's not just about weight, because I don't think weight equates to happiness. It was about me feeling in my purpose, in my skin, in my healthiest self, because I've become very unhealthy, because in this weight gain I've become very low energy. And I found out it's because of all these glucose spikes. Whenever I'm eating the sugar, then I'm crashing, I'm eating the sugar, then I'm crashing. And I didn't realize it was having this impact on me, and why I was so fatigued. And I have done every single test under the book, and the doctors just could not figure out why I'm so tired all the time. And then we realized, oh, it's because of all these sugar spikes. And so now I'm on this journey to come back to myself, come back to my higher self, come back to the version of me that I know that I am. And I hope it can help one person on this YouTube glow up series that I'm doing. And yeah, welcome to my channel. My name is Martha. My channel is Diary by Martha. And I'm gonna keep showing up. I'm gonna keep showing up on camera as my imperfect self, as my 60-pound heavier self. And I'm gonna show you what I'm doing to get connected to myself. And it's not just weight. It's a holistic approach, because I've tried to do the just weight thing and I always just revert back, because I'm not focused on the mental thing, and I'm not focused on the emotional thing, and I'm not focused on the spiritual thing. And now I'm taking a different approach. So welcome to my journey. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.